second. You keep acting like there's somebody's coming to your house every night and being like, you must choose one.
You must choose one, and it has to be Wildcrats. Wildcrats over Davey Jonesie's locker.
Okay. I mean, if somebody puts a gun to your head and makes you make that choice, go for it.
Welcome to another episode of Is This for Kids? I am Jonathan Beard of Blevins.
I am Katie, MrsRuvi.
And boy, do we have an episode that's going to make you wish like you were back in high school getting shoved into a locker.
I was never shoved into a locker. I was very cool.
I had a very large locker that let me travel through time, so I loved that. That's how good this episode's going to be.
Deeply uncool, actually.
Ruvi, serious question. Have you ever watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yeah, of course.
We are talking today about the female version of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, except it might be even a little bit better and a little bit funnier.
A little bit.
Davey and Jonesie's Locker.
Yes. This is it's on Hulu. If you've never heard of it, it is a Hulu show, and you can get your Hulu bundled together with, I think, Disney Plus, something like that.
And ESPN and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
we're not sponsored, but hey, hit us up.
Not an ad yet.
Not yet. But yeah, it's that's where you can find it, and I think that's going to be relevant once you hear how we feel about it.
Yeah, why don't you give us a summary since you're so good at those?
Yes.
This is a show about two young high school friends who have the most quirky, hilarious relationship.
Yeah. Oh, you weren't going to keep going?
No, that was all.
All right, these are two high school girls. Davey and Jonesie are their names. Clearly a reference to Davy Jones, but there is no, other than the fact that there's a locker. That's about it. Anyway, they're two rebels without a cause. They're high school girls who are just rebelling against the establishment. Whatever's happening, they're against it. If it's cool, they don't like it. And that is sort of their entire personality. And then as a result of some shenanigans going on with a high school chemistry teacher, they end up having a locker that's turned into a portal through alternate dimensions. And they're looking through a metaverse, basically. Multiverse. Yes. They're looking through a whole multiverse of different ways in which they could have possibly existed, where they are super cool, where they are super lame, where people who were not popular at school are popular, where the teachers are werewolves, all sorts of different versions of their reality, and they just keep cycling through them. And every reality they get into, no matter what the reality it is, they're against it. Like they want to overthrow the establishment no matter what it is.
Which is awesome and consistent.
It is consistent and kind of fun. So yeah, that's the basic theme. It's, I mean, is a little bit of an overarching plot. You know, there's a, what is it? It's the Multiverse Organization Management, or MOM, who is chasing them around, trying to keep them from disrupting the various universes they're in. And then there's also the Delinquent Acquisition Department, or DAD, who removes those, who removes those elements that mess things up in the various multiverses.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I went into the show thinking it was going to be horrible, thinking it was going to have some crazy, weird agenda, as some of these shows that we watch seem to have. Mm-hmm. But this was just a fun, creative comedy.
Yes.
With and I wasn't that angsty and anti-establishment in high school, but enough. I think most of us our age were. Yeah. There's no weird agenda, and it's just a TV show that's trying to be a good TV show, and it succeeds.
I was like, what are you about to say?
It succeeds.
Yes.
It does a great job.
We always find ourselves in this weird position where we're like, these high school shows feel like they were made for someone younger, but covering topics that are way out of the appropriate ranges. So most like high school dramas, high school soaps, high school whatever, this is a comedy, but like most of them tend to appeal to kids like 10 to 12 years old, because people who are actually in high school kind of roll their eyes at them at least a little bit. They don't like the depiction of teenagers that way. This is actually an oddly accurate depiction of teenagers, where they're just like, they think everything is such a drag when it's not really that big of a deal. But it's positive. I feel like if you let a younger kid is watching this, somebody who's in middle school or late elementary, they're definitely going to see a high school experience that makes it, that makes it interesting to them, but it's fully unhinged. Yeah. Like completely nonsense and out of control. And it will be so fun for kids.
It reminds me a little bit of like Clarissa Explains It All, or like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or Sister Sister. Yes. Like those shows back then that just seemed to just be like good and wholesome and fun and unhinged, like you're saying, and worth watching, with like just not a lot of awful things in it. I don't know how many young children are going to be interested in this show. Like what age do you think would be interested in it? Not is it appropriate for, but interested in watching it? Because I was getting like middle school, high school vibes.
Oh, not my high schooler thinks that this is annoying.
It's lame. Really?
Yeah, she finds it very annoying.
Of course I think that, and she thinks it's annoying. So you're thinking middle school.
I think late elementary actually is more who
late elementary being fourth, fifth.
Yeah. So my 9-year-old devoured the show.
What?
He thought it was so much fun.
Way.
He had a great time. Kids like to see kids older than them, but they also like to see kids older than them be doing things that they think are funny. So like, I know I'm not a huge fan of like SpongeBob SquarePants, but like that level of unhinged is what's going on here, but with less annoying things happening. Yeah.
Okay, so but we're not super far off, like middle school. Because here's what I thought as a parent, right? Again, my oldest is 9 years old, and Davey and Jonesie's Locker is not what I'm going to watch with my 9-year-old son.
Right.
If he was the youngest of 5 sisters, sure. Then great, maybe we're watching that all together.
Yeah.
But I will say, for me, I got middle school vibes, and I thought to myself, like, it's really important as parents, especially when your kids are becoming angsty and they don't really necessarily want to spend time with you. We haven't had that yet happen, but I'm sure it's going to happen someday, to like get into shows that they're going to like and watch it with them. My parents did this with us with like Boy Meets World and a bunch of other different shows. And this is one of those shows that I think is perfect for like a parent to watch with their 12, 13, 14-year-old kid. 11, 12, 13-year-old kid.
Okay, so I have a 14-year-old kid. He also didn't think it was very, like, he thought it was too dumb. So it was too young for him, basically. And maybe your kids they are into that kind of this. Like, anyway, my 4th grade and 5th grade child both thought that it was a lot of fun, but my older kids thought that it was silly.
14's like 8th grade, right? Freshman?
Yeah, 8th grade, freshman.
So like 6th grade, 7th grade, it's perfect. Sit down with the kids.
Maybe.
Watch it together. Won't annoy you that much.
In my opinion, I don't even know that you need to watch this one with the kids because there's not really any like deep conversations need to have. And it feels like it's just like a parody of all of those shows that are aimed toward 8-year-olds, but are actually, I'm right. That are aimed toward 8-year-olds that are the interest level of 8-year-olds, but are putting up topics that are completely inappropriate. Sure. It feels like it's parodying that. Like, did you catch the dance theme that they, yes. the very first episode, the girls do an interpretive dance that's meant to like shut down this establishment or whatever. Nobody knows what they're getting at. And it's really awkward and hilarious. But the dance theme was a night of enchanted tolerance. And like, come on. Like at this point, I think we can all agree that that sort of messaging in teen shows has gotten heavy-handed and is way over the top. So they were mocking it and it was hilarious.
Another episode of Is This for Kids where Ruvi tells me that I am putting the age at too old.
Too old. Like I don't, maybe your kids are very sweet, but
they are very sweet.
They're very
Thank you.
Sweet, kind. I'm going to keep all the other words in my head.
Yeah.
They're maybe a little younger.
They are
in heart than other kids are, but I think on the average, this would be really appropriate for like an 8 to 12-year-old. I think over 12, they're going to get bored.
See, but I'm with you here.
Yeah.
11, 12,
8,
and 8 if they're the youngest sibling.
Yeah.
But you're not watching this, Davey and Jonesie's Locker, over like Wild Kratts. You know what I mean?
Again, this is you keep acting like there's this somebody's coming to your house every night and being like, you must choose one.
You must choose one, and it has to be Wild Kratts. Wild Kratts over Davey and Jonesie's Locker.
Okay, I mean, if somebody puts a gun to your head and makes you make that choice, go for it.
Yeah, but as far as parenting stuff goes in conversations, what age level do you think this is appropriate for?
8.
You're saying 8 years old. I'm like 10, 11, but I'm with you. Like it's a wholesome show.
Yeah.
It's good. It's funny. I watched all but the very last episode, and I actually kind of want to watch it. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking for. There's a season 2. That is announced, and so
some of the things that I think that parents will really want to talk about. So I just want to like hit some of these, other than just we think it's fun kind of things. There's a part when she walks into school and sees the hot guy that she has a crush on, and he chugs a root beer and then gets a tummy ache. Yeah. Like it was very, very funny, like play on these, teen shows where the guy's like being that. It's hilarious. And she's like, I don't know why I'm attracted to this. And it speaks to this whole thing that girls get into. So you can have that kind of conversation with your 9-year-old daughter or whatever. But the thing that I love the most is that like the whole theme is that they want to upset status quos.
Yeah.
And in some of these realities where they upset the status quo when they don't know what it's for, it has terrible consequences. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that you can maybe have a conversation about. Like they think that it's stupid that they're not allowed to listen to music in this reality. So they're going to upset that. They're going to start singing in this reality just to feed their own souls or whatever, their song hearts or whatever they said that was. And as a result, all the teachers turned into to werewolves and killed everybody.
Yeah.
So like, don't upset the status quo if you don't know what it's for.
Don't rebel just to rebel.
Yeah, we don't rebel just for funsies. I thought that was...
You can't have a conversation with a kid about it if you're not watching it with them, Ruvi.
Well, sure. I'm just saying you don't have to watch it with them. But I just think it's neat when somebody puts in sort of a countercultural message like that in there, where it's like, you know, sometimes if you rebel against something and you don't know why you're rebelling against it,
you're going to learn
You're going to learn quick. You're going to learn why we needed that system.
In the form of werewolves.
Yeah, I hate it. You know, like you think to yourself, gosh, I just really want to fix this injustice in the world. And then all of a sudden you're getting your throat torn out in a basement.
Yikes. It's not graphic.
I'm just kidding.
But I will say
Our
this.
producer's terrified right now.
I'm doubling down here on, I do think this is one of those ways that if you're going to watch with your 11, 12-year-old, that it's a cool way to bond with them, spending time with them. We need to spend a lot of time with our kids. You know, Joe, I've actually convinced Jody recently, that's my wife, for those listening and don't know, that it's a good thing for if we're going to be consuming media with the kids, that like it can be quality time if you're doing that as a family. Yeah. And so now we've got like family movie nights and all kinds of fun things that are that are just good. And this is one of those things you can do with your 10, 11, 12-year-old.
And I think some of people might be listening to us and thinking like it's overwrought to have conversations about every single thing that we're doing. But a lot of the things that I've been reading or research that I've been doing about kids and teenagers who sort of retreat to their rooms and they consume media on their phones or their iPads or under covers, or this whole iPad generation that's been brought up with their own media, is that it teaches them to cut off from real life. And rather than say no more media, no more phone, like there's only at some point when you're a parent and the only recourse you have is I'm going to take away your phone, it feels like you're an impotent parent. So like if you can get in there early when they're watching silly little Davey and Jonesie's Locker and set the precedent, like we're going to watch this together, we're going to talk about it. We're going to have these conversations. Then your kids aren't surprised by it when it happens when they're 15, you know, start early, just start talking, just keep freaking talking.
Yes. Always talk to your kids.
Yeah.
Like we do.
All the time. So much talking.
If you have any comments or any suggestions about episodes that we should do,
yes, go
to isthisforkids.com. Check out our Instagram, our YouTube. Everything we do is on audio and visual. Leave us 5-star reviews, subscribe, like, and comment on our videos. That all helps us to grow the machine that is ITFK. Yeah, and over on the Instagram or the YouTubes, I respond to a lot of your comments. So if you put something down there, you're like, hey, Katie, I really want you to do this episode. I will read it. I'm just that big of a nerd. And if you make fun of me, she may defend me. She may agree with you. One of my friends thinks that your kids are locked up in a basement. They are? Except the basement is outside. It's outside. In the yard. Right. Okay. Well, there's just so much media out there for us to go through as parents. I'm Jonathan Beard of Blevins. I'm Katie, MrsRuvi. Let us help you decide. Is this for kids?